3. Okay, awesome. Well, welcome, Celeste. I'm glad to have you on the podcast again. This is a little bit of a reshoot because Celeste was feeling really horrible last time.
Yeah,
she was coughing her head off. But I'd like to introduce this podcast with how we ended up meeting, because I feel like a lot of people just kind of see all this and they think, wow, how does Gabe meet all these super, like, I wouldn't say random people, but people from all walks of life. So I met you at a Sweatpals event, and we did like a community ice bath together with like 30 other people.
Yeah, it was a big time, you guys.
Yeah. That was like right after COVID too, so I was like, it's kind of weird that all of us were like so okay with like,
yeah,
being
all the
in like
germs.
Yeah, being in a
Some
pool
people
with like
dunked
30
their head
people.
too. I think I actually dunked my head.
I think I dunked my head as well.
Someone could have peed in there. We would not know because of how cold it was.
I hope no one did. I don't think anyone did. I think people were too focused on the
Maybe a
cold.
little tinkle.
Yeah. On like the way in. But today I'm interviewing you because you talk about a lot of, or you're a part of a culture that I really like delving into, which is like health and bodybuilding, overall working out, lifting, and you're currently competing, or you're training to compete in NPC bikini bodybuilding. Is that correct? Cool. So I've been excited to see some of the progress that you've been making. You've been getting a little bit of following on Instagram, and your main things are talking about bodybuilding, God, and what else?
I think overall, like, lifestyle, I would say, how I carried myself, advice on like fitness, how to improve your relationship with Jesus, how to be a woman of God, how to like represent that Proverbs 31 woman that's in the Bible.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think it's pretty interesting how we met. We ended up meeting at a fitness event, and then I've just been... sorry, you guys might hear a little background noise. It's early in the morning, and my roommate's getting ready. Let me shoot him a text real quick. So the big thing... Yo, hold on, give me a second. The kitchen stuff. All right. Anyhow, so all right, where were we leaving off of, or where are we coming off from?
I had left off on the Proverbs 31.
Okay, yeah, and I kind of wanted to break down the episode, see, and talk a little bit about what we were gonna talk about. So we're gonna talk about weight gain and weight loss, functional training versus fit training, macro counting and calorie counting, different styles of training and the different types of athletes, my marathon training, body dysmorphia, different ways to measure progression within weight gain, weight loss, or even strength, my weight journey and your weight journey, and then stronger versus aesthetics journey, and the myth of being a hard gainer and losing weight. And this is obviously for people who don't have like medical conditions where you can't lose weight. I forgot what that medical condition was, but there is one where it's like difficult to do it. But anyways, so first I kind of want to mention like that we have different modes of training. I train a lot more for MMA, to be agile, to be fast, to be explosive. But you train a lot more for aesthetics. And I have like a little bit of that mixed in, but you focus on that, right?
Yeah. I'd say a mix of aesthetics and just trying to build my strength up and overall physique as I grow.
Yeah. You can speak a little louder. Mm-hmm. It'll like cancel out.
Okay,
that way
sounds good.
That way you're not like super low.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've like kind of thought about bodybuilding is that it could be like good for aesthetics, but it's not good for overall health. I mean, a lot of bodybuilders report on having just a little or
A
feeling like crap.
relationship with food.
A weird relationship with food, but
Yeah.
also feeling like crap on performance day, which is interesting because in like MMA, they try to be at their prime on performance day, and it's kind of like a weird culture that I try that from like my experience and what I've like seen about it, because a lot of people like they do they focus really meticulous on their dieting, like especially when it comes a few weeks out. They they watch like everything from like salt intake to like their macros and calories, and it can get like pretty tedious.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. Do you,
Yeah.
have you already like felt that way? Like have you competed before at all, or?
No, I have not competed, but like during 2022, it was like a year of me into lifting, going on to my second year actually. Um, I would say like I was going to factory at the time, and this was like during like my all-time prime, like my peak. And people like would see me that I didn't know, and like they'd come up to me like, "Hey, do you compete?" And I'd be like, "No, just shredded for no reason." And yeah.
So and like from that you started gaining more of a reason to compete.
Yeah. A lot of people started telling me like, "Oh, you should like definitely like, like look into it. Like you should think about it."
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to ask, before this, were you tracking your calories at all? Were you focusing
Yeah.
on macros?
So I look up to Annalise Cruz a lot. She's a fellow like Latino in the community for fitness, and she was always like, I followed her on Instagram. I followed her workouts because I was like barely like learning. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna follow her workouts because she looks good, so it must work. And I kind of went based off her diet as well. I even like followed her recipes even, and I was just really just hitting that protein intake that I needed. So like me weighing like a feather after graduating high school, I was like, what, 95 pounds, 100 pounds.
Dang,
So I
that's
only
like-
needed to hit that
how-
much of a protein intake. So I would at least eat like 112 grams of protein.
Dang, but that's like really light. How
Yeah, it is very light.
how tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Okay, so dang,
Yeah, I'm the same height as her too, which is crazy. I think she might be like 5'6" now, but
okay, how interesting. And do you feel like in this it's kind of been tricky to like develop a relationship with food? Did you have like any body dysmorphia or anything?
oh yeah,
of the
for
sort?
sure. I'd say like in the beginning, it was very easy because I have a fast metabolism. I've always had that. I got that from my grandpa on my mom's side of the family. And as far as like the body dysmorphia, it really hit me like the very beginning of my journey, because like I felt like my parents would tell me they could see my progress, but I couldn't see it for myself because I was just so used to seeing this like such like skinny girl in the mirror, like like flat ass, no legs, no nothing, right?
Yeah.
And that was like another thing that was like the whole body dysmorphia thing, because one, like, you know how like middle school and high school is, like the boys are like riled up for that, like the big booty, hourglass shape. I didn't have that. I was just the skinny girl who played soccer and track. So it was just knowing that and looking in the mirror, like I wasn't too confident. I'd probably say I had zero confidence still. I probably didn't start really gaining like confidence like in my body wise and physique till like I saw that progress and realized, like, it took for me to film with my cameraman Chris, if you're watching this. Chris, he had filmed me at factory. And when he showed me the footage, like he had recorded the clip and then he showed me the footage. I looked at it through his camera. I was like, there's no way I look like that. Like, like that's when it hit me. Like, oh shoot, like I actually like look, like I felt good for once. Like that was like probably like the first time I felt good about like my overall look, not including my face, And like I've always been like confident like face wise, but body I just knew it was not. And yeah, I'd say body dysmorphia definitely hit. I know it's hard for others too, like during their journey and like looking in the mirror, they still see like their old self, whether that's skinny, fat, in between skinny fat. It's definitely hard, and I'd say that to not get discouraged by that, because it's always going to happen no matter where you are in your journey. Like I could be like night before stepping on stage and still see that in the mirror.
Yeah, and I remember last episode you talked about going to the doctor and them telling you at one point you were anorexic.
Oh, yeah. So they had told me that because I had gotten out of a really bad toxic relationship. This was my senior year of high school. And it got to a point where it was just, he was a diagnosed narcissist, right? Depression, anxiety, all that. And me knowing that, I still chose to date him, right? And after a while, it just like slowly started getting worse. And like me being a mental, right? I stayed with him because I thought he was gonna be like my husband. Yeah. So it got to a point where I was done. You know that saying where girls are like, oh, like a girl like will mentally check out and break up with him in her head, like probably 3 months before she actually does it. I was already there, like probably like 5 months before. And yeah, we ended up graduating together. He graduated at my high school too. My graduation was first though. And then I went to his graduation right after. So instead of like me going with my family out to eat, I go to his graduation, then I went with my family. Like that's something I should have not done looking back at it, but that's just how it happened. And yeah, so after that, I really just stayed with him, one, because his lung had collapsed and he was in the hospital, like hospitalized for like at least a month or two. Like he thought he wasn't going to walk on stage. And I visited him every day, right? Just to find out he was cheating on me, you know? And like I read texts of him and his ex, and it was bad. And looking back at that, like just knowing that in the back of my head and then still staying with him, knowing that I saw those texts, right? I still stayed, and then like after we graduated, we had like got into a really bad argument that graduation night, talking about like, you know, grad parties going on. He was very controlling, so he of course didn't want me to go. And it was just a head-to-head thing, right? So he would be like, oh, you're not going, and I would just say like, okay, if I'm not going, you're not going to any parties. Like it's not going to be one-sided here. And that happened, and then June 30th comes around. My aunt had gotten me a graduation gift to Disneyland, so we went to California Adventures for that day. Broke up with him the night before. So I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like my little, you know, time off. Get my mind off of that. This man shows up to my house while I'm at Disneyland. I was at home, right? And my mom was working, so my aunt from Houston was visiting. She usually visits like every summer. She answers the door, and he's like, oh, Celeste here. And she's like, no, she's not here. Even if she was here, she doesn't want to speak to you, this and that. You need to leave. Right. And he had brought like some stuff that I had got him, paintings I did for him, all that good stuff. And yeah, he was just basically asking for his stuff back that I had. Like some of his hoodies, you know, us girls, we like to steal their hoodies.
Yeah.
And she had let him know too that I like literally threw away everything because of how mad I was at him, and like all that resentment and anger I held towards him. I threw everything away. Did not care how much it was. I threw it out because of what he did. And yeah, so he just kept like trying, but she told him to leave or else she'll call the cops, whatever.
So what ended up happening was that your ex-boyfriend at the time had kind of left you.
He
with
had
like,
a big toll on like me not eating.
Okay.
In conclusion, I'll just leave it at that because it's a lot. But yeah.
So then from there,
4th of July comes around, right? This is like a month after the breakup. I didn't eat that morning. My aunt had called me asking if I wanted to go swimming with my little cousins and my other aunt. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. They were at a hotel. And I go, didn't really eat anything but like a brownie maybe on the way out. And she picks me up. We head over there. we get there, I go in the pool, swim for a bit, and then I spend the rest of the time in the hot tub after. Being in the hot tub on an empty stomach, underweight,
Yeah.
not eating, and you're not knowing you're already like having like symptoms of like being anorexic, not a good idea. I already felt like lightheaded because of the heat. It was really hot. You know how the hot tubs are. We get out, we go back to the hotel room, and the elevator is when I really like, started swaying, and then like eventually like like right when the elevator door closed, I blacked out. And like my aunt had picked me up. She's like, don't let her fall, don't let her fall, like, because she has experience with like taking care of people, because she used to take people's blood and stuff and do all that. And she's like, yeah, don't let her fall. When like they were basically dragging me by my like right here, and she dragged me to the hotel room, threw me in the tub, put the cold water on the shower, and I woke up. Thankfully. It literally felt like I had blacked out for like 2-3 hours, but it was literally just a couple seconds, which is crazy. And I wake up, right? They just start feeding me. I feel better, obviously. Go back to my aunt's house in San Diego, which is probably like 10 minutes from the hotel. And that's when I like actually ate food, recovered, obviously. And then, yeah, after San Diego, we head back to Orange County, which is where I was living at the time, Garden Grove area. And my mom had booked me an appointment because she was like, no, this is not okay. Like, I've already seen how you've been, like, this past month. And so, like, you haven't been eating. It's not, like, I could just see it in your face less. So she booked me that doctor's appointment. I'm with a nutritionist sitting down. And she basically like could already tell just by looking at me that I was way too bony. Like you could see my ribs and my legs. I had no like, like muscle or nothing. So you could see my bones. It was pretty bad. And I was probably weighing like 80 pounds. Yeah, because I was like 95 in high school, right? So like I dropped down a lot of weight. And yeah, she tells me that she thinks I'm possibly picking up being anorexic. So she gave me this whole like pamphlet of foods to eat, shakes, smoothies, all the like walnuts. That's why I eat walnuts a lot. But yeah, she gave me this whole diet plan. She said, just stick to this, keep eating all of this stuff that's listed, and eventually like come back again and you should be fine, right? So I did exactly that, came back, everything was good after that. And then August comes around. This is when it's my last like month of being in California and then transitioning to the move to Texas. Me and my little brother had flew here, and my parents drove by car to Texas with their U-Haul and stuff. And yeah, we get here, we stayed with my aunt in Houston because my parents didn't have the apartment like they were still prepping it, I guess, like the wood floors and stuff. So we stayed at my aunt's until it was ready, and then like a day or two later we came down to Austin, settled in. Yeah, we just got settled in. Had to get used to. I really hated Texas at first. That's just how it is whenever you move to a new state. Yeah. And yeah, so I had saw that like before the move even. I was looking at the apartment complex, seeing if there's a gym. There's a gym. I had told myself like, okay, like I'm just gonna try to gain weight. I don't really care for like looks or muscle. I just want to be strong, really. I was just lifting to be strong, just to really like protect myself, I would say.
Yeah. And from here, I kind of wanted to like segue a little bit into some of like the different styles of training. So one of the things that you mentioned was just like eating correctly, but I feel like a lot of people have struggles with this. One of my friends, he was always saying like, I'm eating 3,000 calories and like I'm struggling to eat weight. I'm struggling to gain weight. And I was always hearing this and I was like, dude, at the time, I had gained 40 pounds within a year and then dropped 20
Oh, so
within
you were like kind of criticizing him, maybe?
well, I wasn't. I was trying not to be like critical over him. More than anything,
Constructive
yes,
criticism.
I was trying to give him some constructive criticism. I was like, dude, you're most likely not eating 3,000 calories because
Yeah,
that
there's no way he was actually tracking
Yeah.
that. He was
Yeah.
probably just
estimating it.
estimating it in his
So
head.
I did this.
Probably didn't even have a scale either. He just
Yeah.
threw stuff together.
Yeah. I did this estimate with, or I did this challenge with him. So for a month straight, I had him download MyFitnessPal, and we would send each other screenshots of our like
cute.
daily intake every single day. So I ended up like maintaining weight and maybe gaining like 5 pounds, and he ended up gaining like 10 pounds. And I was like, "Let's go! That's what you wanted."
Yeah,
and I was really happy. But
giving the results you didn't before.
yeah, I feel like a lot of people kind of have this issue. They either grossly underestimate or grossly overestimate what they're actually eating.
Yeah, I'd say that too.
And for us, like you've always been like skinny. I've always been skinny. Like my nickname from my family was Flaco, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I had a Spanish teacher in high school, actually. She called me Flaca. If you were in that Spanish class with me, then you'd know. I'd walk in the door right away. Flaca!
And I just find this interesting because I think like the main principles for me to like cut out all the noise is calorie counting in terms of weight gain and weight loss. And then for feeling good, I think it's an entirely different process.
Yeah.
And I think people get like the two mixed up, and I feel like they're not mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
They can be put together, but I feel sometimes people focus more on feeling good in the moment. And truthfully, whenever I started trying to gain weight, I thought this isn't really gonna feel good for 2 weeks. But I just thought that like it was only gonna be like uncomfortable for those 2 weeks, and then after those 2 weeks my body adjusts, gets used to it. But a lot of people don't think about that period where like, hey, if you have like some break in your routine, or if your routine is getting messed up somehow, your body still has to adjust to it. So that discomfort that a lot of people feel in the beginning, I feel is the necessary adjustment. And the discomfort with that is something that they should overall feel. But I don't know, sometimes I see things like within my own family, within like certain people online. Like I was watching this Jubilee video, which is called like Fat versus Fit.
I know
was
what
like,
you're talking about.
And I was like, oh,
I love those. I actually get so hooked that I end up watching like a whole series of like different topics.
Yeah,
too.
and I feel like sometimes people's like perceptions of themselves and what they actually eat and what they actually intake and their habits are very skewed. And I try to say this in like not a rude way, but in a way that's like, I think a lot of people just aren't aware. Like I wasn't aware for the longest time. I came from a family that was obese, overweight.
Yeah, same. That's both of my sides of the family. More so like my dad's side of the family, I'd say, that has more like conditions as far as like diabetes, obesity,
Yeah.
just heart problems and all that.
High blood pressure.
Yeah, high blood pressure, cholesterol, high cholesterol.
Yes.
I actually had that at some point too.
Dang. Yeah, and
Too
like,
much protein.
and like my family has this, and I remember whenever I was like talking to my little cousin, he was like a little tubby kid, and I was like kind of talking with him, and we were talking about being healthy and how he could like focus on his health, focus on his parents' health, and I was like, all right, dude. Just try not to eat so much processed foods. Mexicans, they love this Nor packet, and that's just like salt, but it's not even like good salt. It's like processed salt. So like there's ways to make like healthier rice, but sometimes Hispanics like they put like a bunch of vegetable oil. They put a bunch of
The vegetable oil is terrible.
the vegetable oil is terrible. A bunch of Nor.
Somewhere in Dallas, up above Dallas, probably like damn near like the border going to Oklahoma. We had went to visit my dad's side of the family, and I just remember sitting there watching them like make us breakfast. And I kid you not, she probably added like a whole cup of oil. like with the chorizo and all
Yeah.
that. And I saw her, and I was like, do I really want to eat that? Like, I was with my coach too, and I was like, do I really want to eat that and make it bad, or should I just cut down? And I was like, I don't know, that's like a lot of oil. Like, I don't think you could even taste the chorizo at that point. You're just drinking straight up oil.
Yeah, and like
it's all like frying up and like splashing in the air too.
I think Mexican food is like my guilty pleasure because every single
same.
time I go home, I'm like indulging in
Yeah.
it. But then I'll like kind of see what I'm eating and like how they're making it. And I'm like, oh.
Literally before I had got here, my mom, she got up early. She's making chile rellenos right now.
Rellenos.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing she makes. And I saw it, I was like,
Chile rellenos. I'm not sure if it's a bell pepper or it's like a type of like chile.
yeah,
or like
it's a pepper.
It's a type of pepper, and from there you either stuff the pepper with like beef, cheese, and then you fry it.
Yeah.
And it's so good, but
It is.
The frying is probably not the good part because we do it in like a lot of vegetable oil most of the time.
Yeah, really? My mom does it like on the pan style. Cause she'll like
Does she grill it only? Or she doesn't fry it?
Well, here's the thing, like, you know how like they'll take out the seeds and stuff, and like they'll you know, blend that like the inside together to make the salsa or whatever, and then she'll broil the pepper on like the comal until like it's like black almost.
Yeah.
And then she'll reopen it and then she only puts cheese in it. That's how I like it too. I don't really like it.
Do you guys fry it at all or no?
No.
Okay.
We just put it on the pan. So she'll stuff it with cheese, right? And then she'll put toothpicks to close it. And then I've seen her do it, so I can make it myself.
Yeah.
Wifey material.
The chile relleno that I'm thinking about is like a lot more fried. But
is it like kind of like pancake looking almost?
I wouldn't
Like, you know, the fluffy part that's like...
I wouldn't say it's like pancake. It kind of looks like fried chicken on the outside, but then like you cut into it and then like
the
cheese.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I find that pretty awesome. But I kind of think about these scenarios, and someone recently brought up a concept. I think it was like my freshman year of college in one of my business classes. They talked about food deserts. And Eagle Pass, Texas, I would consider a food desert because it is not like Austin at all.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, it's so easy to find healthy foods. I mean, if you're not even looking...
Sure.
It's like the only selection that we have.
I cannot tell you how many fitness events I've been to lately, and just seeing like a new brand every time of like just like either energy drinks, protein coffee, protein infused water.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Protein infused water? Yeah. And it's good too. Like it's by Power Lift too, that brand.
Yeah, so back to the point. I was kind of thinking of this, and whenever I would go back to my hometown, I would see little things such as the Nord packets or like a bunch of processed foods are just more available, and you have to kind of look
for the healthy stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people aren't really aware.
Would you say it's more so like the protein powders and supplements? Or
I wouldn't even
just
think it's like protein powders.
Greens and fruits in general.
I think it's like the amount of processed foods that there is just way more readily available.
It overlaps.
Yeah, so like chorizo is a pretty processed food. Hot dogs are pretty processed food.
I can't eat hot dogs unless I'm at like a baseball game.
What are the other things? A lot of like the spices and sauces that we cook with, like they have, they're like very processed, but what I've been on like this like new wave of eating, or not new wave, but I've been like focusing more on like whole foods, making sure like my chicken tastes good. It's like chicken, whole eggs, and avocados, making sure I'm like trying to put less protein powder because it always hurts my stomach. And
my stomach.
Yeah, I mean like protein powder kind of makes me gassy, and
oh, it does, really?
Yeah, it's probably because I always get the cheapest one, which it probably why.
That's probably why, Gabe.
But then I kind of think about it, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I think for like the person trying to like gain weight, I'd say track your calories and macros. And just make sure you're eating like a healthy protein intake. And if you guys want more of a resource on like how to do this well, Jeff Nippard has a great book that breaks all of this down, everything from sleep to like body recomposition to how to track your calories, how to plan for your goals, and how to like get strong and look healthy. And it's called The Body Recomposition Something by Jeff Nippard. Pretty good. And then the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about was the different athletes that I see. So I've been marathon training for a while.
Yeah.
I've been doing MMA, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, and I've also seen people do gymnastics, and then I also like lifting, either calisthenics or powerlifting style. Maybe I'll mix in the both. So I'll like lift heavy, and then to burn out a little bit more, I will do like some more calisthenics work. So try to get some more chin-ups, pull-ups, etc. And that's just because I want to be like overall functional. It's like, I don't know, I just want to be able to like sit in a handstand and be like, oh yeah, check this out. I can just hold it. Just be like there.
Watch this.
Watch this. Or do like the splits. Oh, yoga as well.
Ka-chow.
Yeah, I also took a yoga class at UT, and that was pretty interesting. It helped with like me learning how to do certain poses. And dude, yoga is really hard. It involves like
Oh yeah,
many
I've done
calisthenics.
I've actually done sauna yoga
Okay.
at Black Swan Yoga
yeah.
studio. It was terrible. I had
Yeah.
makeup on, thinking I didn't know it was gonna be. My neighbor did not tell me it was gonna be sauna yoga. They were a lot older, so I said, okay, I'll join you. We go. I'm sweating bullets. My makeup's melting at that point.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, never again. I'm going there.
Yeah. I really like wrestlers and gymnasts to be like the role model athlete because they're so functional, they're flexible, they're fit, they're explosive, they're fast, they have great cardio. And I feel like with every other one, if you just like focus on the sport specifically, it is very hard to be well rounded.
I'd agree with that. I'd probably add in you said wrestlers and MMA.
I say wrestlers and gymnasts.
Gymnasts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say those two, and boxing and swim. Because I don't know if you've seen people in swim, but they are shredded.
I've actually have seen some people in swim. One of my friends, I just had him on. His name is Jordan. He's more of a diver, and I've like seen some of the diving community. Those guys are also jacked.
Yeah.
I
It's
haven't
all
seen
the
swim.
swim, because it's literally your full body working.
I will say I'm not a big fan of boxers' legs.
Yeah. They
Because
tend
I
to be
think-
skinny and
Yeah.
slim, which I don't like either.
Yeah.
It really just shows whether or not they just do only straight up boxing or if they do gym and boxing. Because if there's no gym in there, then that's when you'll see those skinny legs that don't match the upper body.
Yeah.
That's one of my pet peeves, by the way. If your legs do not match your upper body, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of doesn't look good to me. But I've been kind of like thinking of different physiques and like
The bro split.
yeah, I don't like the bro split either. The bro split is like
No leg days.
oh, okay. It's like doing like individualizing everything, right? Yeah. Sometimes I focus on like more on like a push pull type of
Monday,
scenario.
chest. Tuesday, shoulders. Wednesday, back.
Arms.
Thursday, biceps.
Arms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then repeat, skip legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
actually
do legs.
My favorite lifts day is actually leg day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
It's either that or they do leg day, but they don't do shit. Like,
Yeah.
they just don't even try.
yeah, I think one of my roommate's friends had challenged me to start like lifting heavier, and I was like, I don't want to do this. And he was like, no, dude, just do it. So like I've kind of noticed like in periods where like my legs were looking sturdy, I was trying to lift heavy and I was trying to put like higher numbers. And I think this like new era of like athleticism has been emerging, which is called like the hybrid athlete. And
It's popping off right now. Everyone's trying to be a runner right now.
yeah, I think it's because like running got like really popular.
Yeah. I think it was really Raw Dog that set that
Yeah,
off.
I mean, there's like a bunch of run clubs like here in
Yeah.
Austin, and
Because let me tell you one thing with Raw Dog, okay? You know how they all look, the aesthetics, right?
oh yeah, they're very like
Girls
lean
are
and
gonna
toned out.
see that. They're gonna be, oh my god, let's go so we can meet them, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's how they started getting followers, because all these women and guys started coming. One, because they obviously the guys are there for the girls. They want to be shirtless, like, oh, look at me, like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say a lot of people are getting into hybrid athlete.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because like I've gone to this run club a couple times, and it's always like funny to see like, yeah, everyone's shirtless, everyone's kind of like doing their own thing, and they kind of market it as like a dating scene, which
Yeah, I've seen that.
I'm like, oh, this is
Who
kind of
needs
funny.
dating apps when you got Raw Dog?
Yeah. And I
Shout
think,
out Noah, by the way.
I think it's actually a pretty good strategy because I was like thinking about it. If I were to look for someone and try to date someone right now, I would not want to find them in a bar. I would not want to find them
Yeah,
in
that's
like
something.
a social scenario where we're drinking. I feel like that is not really the way to find a good partner.
Yeah, it's either you'll meet someone like that, you'll think they're good, and then they just show you that they're still carrying that lifestyle and consistently, like every night, drinking and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's like more so when it is that lifestyle. Like
It pushes you away from them. Like
yeah, I feel like, especially with like my lifestyle, my livelihood, I try not to drink.
Yeah,
I try
same
not
here
to
with the whole
like
bodybuilding.
smoke or do any drugs, and like I have a lot of friends who do that. And
He's
I'm
on
like,
the nice list this year, basically.
yeah. Oh well, I actually want to delve into that. So I did 75 hard 3 times in 1 year. And that basically meant for 225 days, I was sober. Yeah, dude. I was loving life at that moment. And I was just like...
He had went, like, a year without his phone, too.
Yeah.
I thought he, like, completely disappeared. At some point, I thought he was, like, not on this earth, but he was still here.
Oh, yeah. I also did a year off of social media. And then I did 3 months without like any social media apps, and then I did
Like, I'm telling you, he didn't even check his social media. It's like, if I had texted him or sent him a reel, nothing.
Yeah. And I don't know, I like going to like these like wellness challenges every now and then, but 75 hard was one that I really liked because it was 2 workouts a day, went inside, went outside, drink a gallon of water, reading 10 pages of a book, no alcohol, follow a diet. And it got me zoned in on what I was doing. In that year, I gained 40 pounds. So I went from 150 pounds to 190 pounds. And that was one of the years that I'm like, I finally started like realizing that the amount of results that I get is quantified by
the effort
that I put in. But it's not just effort, it's actual like effectiveness within that effort. I feel like a lot of people
action.
Yes, but I feel like a lot of people can like consider movement effort and or they consider movement progress when it really is just like effort without progress. So
from the bed to the fridge, progress.
So what? I have no idea what you meant by that.
Like they'll consider like any little movement as progress. Like, that's my workout.
Yeah, or it's just like maybe even like falsifying it, like taking. I've been like more keen on having like workout programs, and that's like whenever I started seeing a lot of progress within myself. So it was I started tracking my programs. I started tracking my weights, tracking my eating. And that sounds like very meticulous, but the thing is, once you get like at least a 3-month habit of it, you kind of have the ability to stray away from it. And I feel like a lot of people kind of like start like estimating from the get-go, and they're never truthfully accurate. So I feel like once you start developing that like muscle for like, oh, this is this many calories, or oh, I'm lifting this much weight today, or oh, even if I feel terrible today, I could still lift this much.
Yeah.
That muscle is something that I feel a lot of people haven't developed, especially in like smaller towns like Eagle Pass. Like obesity is really high. I look at some of my family members and I get more so worried about them because of like all their health issues.
Yeah, Houston is actually known as like the most obese city.
It's actually Brownsville.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where's that?
The Valley.
The Valley. Of course, it's the Valley.
Yeah. So it might have changed.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like little sectors. So I think of like that and whatever.
Houston does make sense though.
Yeah. I guess like certain parts. But I think of that and then like the food deserts and I'm like, truthfully, for me, since I'm living in Austin and I have access to like MMA gyms, gymnastic gyms, to Lift ATX, shout out Lift. The owner gave me a shirt. He's so cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Have it?
Yeah.
No way. What did he give you?
Lift ATX shirt. I was gonna wear it today,
shoot.
but it was dirty.
Which one was it?
The original Lift ATX one. The one that kind of had
yeah.
like the Mexican
Yeah, I know
style
what you're talking
blanket look.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Why
I'm gonna
did
get
he
him
give it
something
to you?
because I
What-
told him I'd barter him for an Inaka gift card. We went to a run club and we both won $500 gift cards.
Oh yeah, we did. Me and Gabe, we went up.
Yeah.
Have you got that by the way? I don't think I got it.
I have.
Let
Yeah.
me check my email.
Yeah. Check it later. But I kind of saw these challenges as ways to like really hone in
Yeah.
on focusing
Wait.
on those. What's up?
You said you bargained him.
Yes. I told him I'd buy him a shirt from Inaka if he gives me a Lift ATX shirt.
And what did he say?
He said, yeah.
He was like, deal.
He's like, I'm an XXL. Feel free to get me whatever you want. So,
He's so funny.
anyhow.
Shout out Hefe.
Yeah, shout out him. Anyway, back to this. So one of the things that I've been like thinking about is a lot of people don't have the same goals as me, and a lot of people just want to get strong, but they want to, or some people just want to like lean out, have a nice physique, and some people want to be like just more functional overall.
Yeah.
So I kind of like think of those scenarios, and I think they're one and the same in a sense. Like you could get strong and have a nice physique. They're not mutually exclusive, but I think people need to pay more attention to like how they're eating if they really want. Like if someone's not on a regimented like on like any regiment or any like routine, I feel that is what kind of causes these issues. I remember I was listening to an episode or a podcast with Alex Ramosi, and he was talking about like how he maintained like a good physique year round, and it was by like front loading all of his protein. And I did that for a while, but it made me feel like crap. Cause I was just like eating a bunch of protein and I would like eat cookies, but then like in that I was missing a lot of my micronutrients or a lot of like my veggies, my fruits, and I would just like eat junk food. So like you look jacked, but you're probably not the healthiest. So there's like a give and take. Like if you want to be healthy, look healthy, and feel healthy, I think the whole foods diet is pretty good. Like a lot of just like a lot of organic food, like trying out to buy like processed foods, and it doesn't
A
even
lot
have,
of people like going to Trader Joe's, but I'd say it's still like
Trader Joe's is a very
processed.
gentrified
it is
it's
super
a gentrified
gentrified
store,
Yeah.
so you will not find that in Eagle Pass. I'm pretty sure if there is any in the
Yeah,
valley,
like you
they're,
only
like,
find it
hidden.
in like nice areas of
Yeah.
your state, but not
Yeah,
the deserts, the food deserts, the schlems.
so I don't know, there is a lot of these scenarios and I'm like thinking about health a lot of the times, but there is like a lot that comes like with this journey. I think it's just like putting the habits in place. I think there is like the myth of being a hard gainer and the myth of being someone who can't lose weight. I think those are categories that you put yourself in order to feel better about not being able to progress. You may be moving, but you may not be making any actual effective choices within your healthy or daily habits. So that's like my little spiel. But yeah, I don't know. Like we both come from like Hispanic backgrounds or Mexican families, so you could kind of see all the issues that come with some of the foods. A lot of our families are like high in like that vegetable oil. I think that's like the big killer.
It is. I think that really leads to like everything.
Yeah.
My mom actually, she had saw on Facebook one of my dad's side of the family. They had posted like a video of them getting together, right? And they're like doing a salud, like their beers and all that, tequila, whatever. they're all drinking all types of stuff. Wine, tequila, beer, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they were celebrating, but everyone's all over at my cousin's place, right? And I remember she showed me the video, and I was like, they don't look like how I last saw them. Like a lot of them like got big.
Bigger.
Yeah, like they got chunk
Just
on
fluff
them.
up,
Yeah,
dude.
like they got lonjas now. I'm like,
Yeah.
what happened to her? Like she got double chin now. I'm like,
it's
what?
dirty. You're doing your cousins dirty with that one.
No, it's not even like my cousin's like good, but I'm saying like my other like family that's like not like exactly like my family, but like let's say like one of my cousins like married whatever, their side of, I'm like, what happened to you?
Yeah.
And like my mom had told me, she was like, I don't know what they're thinking. Like of course they like to drink. We're all Latino.
Yeah.
But I think it like just ties back into like having that habit of drinking, and it just catches up to you to the point where you're bound to gain weight when you drink.
Yeah.
Alcohol stays in your body for at least like 24 hours to 3 days, depending how much you drink, if you didn't know that already. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and she showed me that video, and she was like, I wonder if they ever like see your account on Instagram or your Facebook even. They're just like, you know, they see that I'm the fit one compared to them and their lifestyle. They see that I don't drink and do all that either. Yeah. So it's just like my mom was telling me, she's just like, I'm glad that you didn't pick up those habits that they did, you know?
Well, I think your mom did something really good, which was separate you from that lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that I was always like a little fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. I had like abs in high school, but that was only because I was skinny.
Yeah, and I think because I moved to Austin, that was whenever I really got into fitness. Mm-hmm. When the fitness culture is very big, it's where eating habits are talked about frequently. Mm-hmm. It's where people are constantly elevating themselves and challenging themselves to be a better person. So I kind of think of these scenarios, and I think of my circumstances and my external motivators. It is 10 times easier for me to lose weight, to be healthy, to go run a marathon, as opposed to like my little sisters. Try to talk to them. They're like, yeah, but I don't want to just like run outside and be all weird.
That's how my family is.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be running outside in like 100-degree weather. I'm like, yeah, but people like do it here, and it's like normalized here. Yeah. But we also have like prettier scenery.
Mm-hmm. But I think when it comes to like siblings, especially if your siblings are like competitive with each other, right? They'll see like, oh, he's doing better than me, or she's doing better than me. Like I have to do better now, you know? Yeah. It's funny because when my brother was living here for like just the summer, just to see how Texas was, right? I guess like he had saw my relationship with like my parents and like how supportive they are of like my fitness, and how like I was looking in like the relationships I had at the gym and the community I was in. He started to like kind of like not envy it, but like a little jealousy. And sometimes he would question my mom like, why do you do this for her? You don't do that for me? Like, you know, but that's because I'm a girl, you know, like it's going to be different for you guys. Like you guys could stay out late all you want. But when it came to me, like they were more so like letting me like slide with almost anything. Yeah. But really that was only because like I'm their only girl, right? I have 2 brothers. My older brother's 30. My little brother, he's 10 years old. And my older brother, actually, in high school, he was always like the varsity jock, basketball, whatever. Did boxing too growing up, and baseball. So he, like, you know, of course, once he's 21, whatever, started partying, drinking, smoking, all that. He gained a lot of weight, in conclusion. He had told me recently, probably like a month ago or 2, I think, whatever. He was weighing like 315 pounds. Dang. Yeah, so he went from like looking like a bodybuilder, athlete, almost boxer type of build, to 315, right? So he had checked his weight recently, and now he weighs like 298 now, which is really good. Like I'm proud of him for that. And like I think really like I'm like glad that I do what I do now, because he's seeing those habits that I have and he's picking those up and he's like kind of learning from it. Like, okay, like this is what she's doing. Let me be consistent with eating. Like, let me like cut down on the processed foods. Let me stop going out eating. Let me stop drinking. So one thing I tell them, if you're going to go out and drink, keep it at one drink only.
Or do
That's
tequila
it.
only.
Yeah, or tequila. Tequila and
it
cranberry is good, by the way, if you do want to drink. But yeah, I had told them that just keep it at one. Do not go two. Do not go one.
All right. So I know that you have an appointment coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I want to start wrapping it up.
I have class soon, yeah.
Yeah, you have class soon.
Yeah.
So I want to start wrapping it up. But I want to do a little segment called Hot Takes. So we'll go one and one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Go.
You want to go with your first hot take?
I'm in the hot seat. Yes. You go.
Okay. So my first hot take is if you can't see any progress within your weight journey, whether it's losing or gaining weight, it's because you're confusing movement for progress. Sometimes you're just not doing things effectively. And if you really want to make some progress and make overall progression within your body, check your habits, jot them down, write them down, be meticulous about writing them down for 3 months, and you will definitely see a difference.
That's good. I'd say as far as like the drinking goes, because a lot of people think, oh, empty calories. That's my biggest pet peeve right there. That's my hot take. Thinking that every alcohol is empty calories, not going to affect you. This isn't that. Alcohol, like I said before, alcohol stays in your body for at least 24 hours to 3 days, depending how much you drink. Yeah, and your blood. And if you're drinking and you go to the gym the next day after a night of drinking, you're not going to feel good, right? At least you'll sweat it out. Maybe hit the sauna, do some cardio. That we get it all out probably, but just sweating it out. But still, it's not the best way to go about it. Like, if you're going to try to be, like, that's why that's another one of my hot takes. Seeing people either drink, but one, smoking. If I see you smoking cigarettes, tobacco, anything, what's the point? Your lungs are going to give out on you before your body does.
Yeah. I want to add to that hot take. I think Mexicans drink too much. I'm just going to flat out say it.
No, he's right.
So
we're both Mexican. We could speak. Our families.
Yeah. I've kind of grew up around alcoholics all my life, and it's something that's very normalized within the culture. But if you really want to live a more healthy life, just think about what you're doing. I understand having a drink every now and then, but honestly, Mexicans drink way too much alcohol. It's very normalized within the Hispanic culture, and a lot of Hispanics also complain about being obese, about being fat. If you have a good, healthy relationship with it, then that's another story. But truth is, most of the people don't. Most of the people, you could tell that they drink.
Yeah,
they have a beer belly.
Right,
they have
beer belly.
They have.
I think Fonz had actually posted a video. You could see his beer belly when he was like in college drinking and stuff. Like his transformation, Fonz.
Oh yeah.
From Raw Dog.
Yeah. Well, anyways,
it's just an example, but yeah.
I think especially in Austin, there's a lot of sober activities, and I think people need to
so much actually.
People need to figure out what sober activities they actually enjoy. And you can do this with adults. Truthfully, it's not for little kids. And I feel like drinking has become so normalized, but truthfully, I remember listening or hearing this quote once, and it was, once you have a greater purpose in life, you understand that drinking is fun, smoking is fun, and doing drugs is fun, but you also realize that you have to recover from those days. So drinking, you technically have to recover for 3 days. It's still in your system for 3 days. Even though you don't feel it, you may have gotten so accustomed to it to the point where you don't feel it. But I just kind of want to mention that Mexicans drink way too much, and it's too normalized, and I feel like it's something that more people should talk about. What's another one of your hot takes?
Another one of my hot takes. Is that more so like pet peeves also?
I guess it could be like pet peeves, but what is like a truth that people tell themselves that's not true?
Probably just when it comes to rest days, not having a rest day at all, like just 7 days a week, no rest day. You need your rest, okay? Sleep too. If you're not getting those 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours, you're not gonna grow. You're gonna like start like. That's another thing too with your friend probably that he wasn't doing is probably either he wasn't sleeping enough. We already know he wasn't tracking it. Not to talk about him, but
Oh yeah, sleep is very
sleep is crucial to your growth. Same as what was the other one I said? Sleep and
rest.
yeah, rest days. Taking rest days, a day off from the gym, not going to the gym at all.
I actually kind of disagree with this.
Really?
Yeah.
I think an active rest day is
Yes,
okay.
I
If like
think
you could go
active
run
rest
and
days.
stuff, but don't lift weights.
Yeah,
You could do like very light.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should go like more than 80% 6 times a week. But what I will say is the rest days. I feel like what I do is a lot of yoga and mobility, and that's just because my body's getting a little jacked up from jujitsu. Like, I mean, these guys are like literally trying to break my arm, break my shoulder, break my knee. And sometimes when I roll with the wrong partner, like I'll feel it the next day. And
Like someone who is stronger than you would
not even stronger than me, but like the newer guys.
Yeah.
They always say that like if you want to get injured, go with like the newer guys.
Oh, because they don't know how to properly. Like,
Yeah, they don't know how to take care of their partners, so they're like muscling you and like it's okay to like use muscles and like strength sometimes, but you gotta use it in a controlled fashion instead of like cranking someone.
Yeah.
Like imagine if I was like showing you how to do
Picturing
an armbar and I was
Gabe
like
getting thrown down right now.
yeah. But I think of that. I know one of my hot takes is I think there is so much fad diets out there. So I think there's like a lot of like ketos, like no carbs, no carbs, no fats, low protein diets out there. So kind of just focus on like eating less processed foods, and I think that will sum it up. And one last thing, fuck lettuce, dude. I think it's the most overrated.
He said this on the last episode.
Yes.
We tried to film.
I'm gonna restate it. Fuck lettuce. I think it's like one of the most overrated.
It's so
veggies.
water based too.
It is water based. Like it. There's so many better alternatives.
Salad.
All right. Well, Celeste, we need to start wrapping up. So just. Do you want to plug in any of your socials where we can find you, anything of the sort?
So I have a fitness page. It's more so like my main too. I just happen to throw in my fitness, which is really what it's all based on. You can find me on Instagram at Celeste Salazar with 2 A's and 2 R's at the end. And I also have a podcast that I'm wanting to start up, but it's more so like a podcast / like Bible study group almost. That one's called Celeste Speaks Cielo in Spanish, which is heaven. And yeah, if you guys want to follow me on those, you're more than welcome to follow along with my journey. Probably within 5 years, I'll be stepping on stage because I really don't think I have the muscle yet for it, because I want to win an overall on stage, like the whole show. So yeah, you guys can find me there. I do plan on like doing YouTube and all that later on down the line. But yeah.
Yeah. I want to do more YouTube soon, so you guys will be seeing a little bit more of that too.
Yeah, maybe you'll see us on his YouTube channel.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, we could actually probably film a workout video.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll plan it.
All right.
But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up, y'all.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a good day.